All right, so I kind of wanted to circle back real quick. I apologize if anybody's watching the past broadcast version of this or on YouTube and doesn't really care. I'm going to be talking about my roster here, at least early on in this stream. So I kind of wanted to bring up a couple of the points that I made a couple days ago. I've just been having a lot of roster anxiety and been trying to look at my roster a little bit visually and from a data perspective. And anyway, so I kind of made a spreadsheet with kind of all the attributes for every character in the game right now. And I'm also seeing a lot of the talking heads on YouTube right now or on Twitch, predicting what characters they think's coming. And I was just kind of interesting to look and see like where the holes are in meta right now. And if you do a 5x5 grid and you look at traits and not traits and origin. Hold on just a second. I don't know why I'm blanking on this. Oh yeah, trait and origin. So if you do a 5x5 with trait and origin, there are three kind of, I don't want to call them holes, but combinations that are, let's just say, underserved. So there are three combinations where only two characters exist. And I'm going to kind of go through these in kind of the order that I feel like I'm kind of confident in that this is who could be coming next. So the first one would be a Mystic Blaster. So right now there are only two Mystic Blasters in the game, Thor and Elsa. Thor being cosmic, and I think Elsa's global. I think we could be getting one for City. So a Mystic Blaster that would make a lot of sense for City, and thematically would make a lot of sense for kind of where the game is right now, would be Moon Knight. So Moon Knight would probably be introduced to kind of beef up the defenders. I'm thinking that just would make a whole lot of sense. It would also help because people that are working on DD4 right now, City is very, very bio-heavy because everybody wants to take all 5 symbiotes up. I don't think that's probably going to be my strategy, but if you can do it, all the more power to you. But the reason I think that it would be really nice if a Mystic Blaster was added to City, because right now the only Mystic character out of City that really kind of interests me is somebody that I'm kind of interested in long term is probably Ghost Rider. I almost have him to 7 stars, so I can almost, I can kind of take him up to the next level soon. But I'm interested to see if Moon Knight ends up getting added to Defenders, or they could create some kind of new team. They could do like maybe a Marvel Knights team, maybe that would have Daredevil and I don't know who else was in that. Possibly Shang-Chi. I think that's how you pronounce it. I think he's getting his own movie. So thematically within the MCU and kind of greater Marvel umbrella, I think that would make a lot of sense. So I feel pretty confident about that one, that we'll see that one possibly in the next patch. And again, I have no insider knowledge. This is just kind of my guess. The next one that I think is very interesting is Mutant Support. Why can't I not find anything tonight? So right now there are only 2 Mutant Support characters. They're both pretty important characters, Sinister and Beast. So you got a hero and you got a villain. They've been introducing a ridiculous amount of mutant characters lately, and they're going to need some additional support to help them out. So the person that I think that could kind of fill that void would be Forge. So we already know at this point that the next legendary character is going to be Jubilee. It was kind of leaked on social media, I believe on Friday, and they put up a screenshot promoting Kitty Pryde that showed the whole Astonishing X-Men team, and it included an image of Bishop, which I thought was really interesting, not because we didn't really expect it. A lot of people have been talking about that lately, a lot of people that do have some insider knowledge. but I was surprised that they wouldn't really introduce it that way. It would have been introduced in a blog post. So, I don't know if there's anything nefarious going on there, but somebody made a mistake from a social media perspective. Anyway, not that I care. So the thing that's interesting about Bishop is, at least from what I remember through comics and different cartoons and stuff growing up, is that I feel like there's some kind of like X-Force, X-Factor dynamic between Cable, Bishop, and Forge. And then obviously I think in the cartoon in the 90s, that's now on Disney Plus, that I'd like to circle back to at some point. I'm pretty sure Forge was in that cartoon. I think he was always working on the Blackbird, and if he wasn't in that cartoon, I know he's been in others since. But anyway, I think that would make a lot of sense. And the interesting thing about that, we're kind of like looking at this astonishing X-Men team and can't quite figure it out, because Jubilee's going to be the legendary, but people are speculating that she's not like really the legendary character. I guess maybe I didn't play the Star Wars equivalent to this game. I'm aware of what it is, but supposedly this was kind of a tactic that that company used to kind of set up something bigger. So maybe Bishop's not even the next legendary character. Maybe it's Forge. And again, the thing with Forge would be interesting is maybe he's pure mutant support, and he doesn't really belong to Uncanny X-Men. He doesn't belong to Astonishing X-Men. Doesn't belong to X-Force. But there's definitely something bigger going on with the mutant picture. So the blog post a couple months ago, probably around Thanksgiving, if I had to guess without looking, when they announced that Beast was going to be getting the Uncanny tag, they also mentioned that X-23 would be getting an X-Men tag. So I'm kind of just circling back around to that, trying to figure that all out, and why specifically did they make X-23 an X-Man? And it might have something to do with that. I'm not sure. But it would be really interesting if that happened. And then looking at all that, it made me realize how interesting it would be to combine the Dad Bros, Longshot and Shatterstar, with Cable, Deadpool, and X-23, and kind of do an X-Factor, X-Force mutant hybrid. I just think that sounds like an interesting team that I'm going to have to try out a little bit down the road. But anyway, I think Forge would make a lot of sense. I mean, it could be somebody else. I mean, it could be Professor X, for all I know. He would obviously also fit that mutant support criteria. And then the last one, this is total speculation. I don't know that they'd really do this, but I think it's interesting. It's Tech Brawler. So right now, again, there's only two Tech Brawlers that exist right now, and neither one of them, in my opinion, are all that good. Nebula's not a whole hell of a lot better than Nobu, in my opinion. I really wish that they'd kind of rework her. Gamora's definitely kind of fallen off the Guardians of the Galaxy team. They need to do a little rework and make these more of a duo, kind of do like a Daughters of Thanos thing. I don't know. That's what makes sense to me. So anyway, why Hulkbuster? Which would be awesome. I would go all in on that character. I think really what's happening right now, and this is a strategy that I'm considering for Dark Dimension 4 long term, is kind of reassembling my Avengers. We've kind of pulled them apart when, Thor got Asgard's, and then when Stark got power armor. But both of the, not so much power armor, but Asgardians have kind of fallen off a little bit. There's a lot of counters to them in war now, especially with symbiotes. And there's a couple other hard counters, but yeah. So anyway, people are reassembling the real Wave 1 Avengers minus Hulk. Sorry, Hulk. And that leaves a vacancy on your power brawlers. I've seen a lot of people putting the 4 other power armor people on a team with Ultron, which makes a lot of sense. I might actually be running that right now. I did have 4 members of Guardians, but I think I changed it to the 4 other power armor. At least not if I don't have that right now. That's definitely something that I've experimented with or will continue to experiment with. But I just think that would make a lot of sense if they threw Hulkbuster on there. I suppose he could be a protector, but just kind of looking at the grids, it seems like it would make sense here at Tech Brawler. So those are kind of 3 predictions that I have for this coming year. I mean, I don't really have any timetable. All that was purely speculation, but that's one of the things that, or a couple of the things that I see coming. And then a couple other characters that I think they could do in the not so distant future would be Medusa. I feel like there are probably some people like me that have built up a pretty good Inhumans team, especially if I can get Quake up the rest of the way. I had been running Ms. Marvel just because I like Ms. Marvel and I think she's a good utility character, but I think when I can get Quake kind of up to a similar level with the rest of my Inhumans, I think I'm definitely going to be pretty happy with that team. And I'll talk about it more here in a minute, but I'll tell you why I think I might be shifting away from Inhumans just slightly. Black Bolt's probably my favorite, so I'm never really going to ignore this team, especially with 6 red stars. And then I have been working on Hela and Sif, trying to get both of them up to 7 stars so that I can close him out, or close them out and get Black Bolt up to 7 stars. That would be really, really nice. I can only imagine how much more powerful that would be, but I don't know. And then I got to finish off Karnak. You need 5 Inhumans at max stars to get a 7-star Ebony Maw, and that's kind of what I'm working toward right now. It took me 3 rounds to get Ebony Maw, but when I did, I finally unlocked him at a 6-star instead of a 5-star, which wasn't bad. And I haven't really been using them a ton. I use them in arena defense right now, but I haven't really used them on offense. And I definitely kind of slept on Black Order. My Black Order is definitely underdeveloped, and I'm not really going to try to catch. I'm not going to try to catch up. I haven't put any T4s on these guys other than Maw. I don't have anybody up to T13 yet or G13 yet. So I mean, I've had an arena offense team that I've been able to beat Black Order kind of punching across, maybe even slightly punching down pretty consistently. I think I can do it probably 35 or 40% of the time if I had to guess. So I'm just, Black Order with Thanos, it's an arena team, and I am interested in teams that are more widely used. I really like Inhumans. I really like Uncanny. I think Black Bolt and Phoenix are pretty much locks for 2 of my legendary characters going into Dark Dimension 4. Not that I'm really all that close. So I'm about ready to finish up Dark Dimension 3. Hopefully in the next week or so. I'm on the last note of Cosmic right now. Issue is I only have 3 city characters right now ready to go. I'm really close on Ms. Marvel and Spider-Man, but and I could end up regretting this. Lately, I've been trying to put the last couple pieces on to Anti-Venom, and then I've never done this, but I kind of just realized recently. I mean, I know you can do it in Dark Dimension 4, at least in certain spots. I need to look at the specifics, but I think you can go through Dark Dimension with, you don't have to have a team of 5. You can do less than 5. So even when I beat the last Cosmic Node of DD3, within the next week, I don't think that's necessarily going to hold me up. I think I'll be able to move on. I don't know if the results are going to be all that good, but would have Symbiote, Spider-Man, Daredevil, and Punisher, which wouldn't be terrible, especially with the abilities and red stars that I have on them. But adding Anti-Venom, obviously would help. If Symbiote Spidey actually did go down, he'd be able to revive him, and then I just have always liked Ms. Marvel, especially since she crosses over with Inhumans, and early on in the game I liked all the hero brawlers, still kind of like the hero brawlers. And then yeah, if I had the regular Spider-Man on that team, then I would have 3 hero brawlers for Ms. Marvel to play off of, and then obviously the duo and Punisher and Daredevil, and then Anti-Venom there to kind of put all the buffs on everybody. So I think that's actually a pretty good team. We invested kind of heavily in some of those city characters, mainly just because there aren't a whole lot of them that I like, especially until recently with the symbiotes. Doc Ock, I'm not really working on Doc Ock right now, but I just unlocked them, kind of focusing on Red Guardian a little bit more. There'll be more time to get to Doc. Doc, is somebody that I'm trying to have probably as my very last character going into DD4. Might not make it. I don't really know what my full strategy is yet. I don't really want to focus on Sinister Six, so if I did focus on Doc Ock, it would be more as a solo character to use for arena and real-time arena. So my strategy's kind of been giving me a little bit of anxiety lately, and I've been trying to figure out what makes the most sense for me, even though I haven't finished DD3, and figure out what kind of resources and materials that I have to work with. But I've kind of shifted my perspective in the last couple days. So I was thinking for early on, obviously you kind of want to focus on your global characters because they're the ones, you can take any characters into the first little wave or whatever, or 4 nodes, but if you don't have all your global characters ready to go, you're just going to be finishing that wave and then waiting. I don't really want to do that. I kind of want to do a very gradual progression. So anyway, this whole time I've been toying around with the idea of using Phoenix right away. Right now I've got about almost 3 of these Gear Tier 15 nodes ready to go, and I believe that Phoenix only requires 3 of them. So, and our unique one doesn't. So yeah, I'm almost, I would need some more orange materials, but or gold materials, but in theory I could probably boost her up to tier 15 really quickly, especially after I get those rewards for my first pass through DD3. So that's kind of one strategy that I'm thinking right now, is taking her up immediately, having my one legendary character that's, except for that last red star, as high as anybody else's in the game. And I think I'd be happy with that. I don't think I'll probably stick a 7th red star on her, but who knows. Right now, I think I need to diversify a little bit. So anyway, I think that's probably what my first step is going to be right after finishing Dark Dimension 3. And then I'd kind of been playing around with kind of a Shield, Inhuman, Wave 1 Avengers hybrid, but I'm kind of shifting away from that, and I'll kind of explain more why. So the ones that I was kind of considering, I've been looking at all this visually lately, but my first wave was going to be Yo-Yo, Widow, Hawkeye, and both Widow and Hawkeye still have quite a bit that I'd have to do to get them ready to go into Dark Dimension 4. I don't know if it was the timing of where I was in the game, but I didn't get very good red stars on any of the Wave 1 Avenger characters. I think I pulled Captain America naturally, got the 5 red star there. I recently had to promote Iron Man to 4 red stars. I was trying to get through Doom Chapter 3. I don't know that I really needed to do that, but I knew that I wanted to do it long term just because he's a legendary character. So anyway, I thought that Fury was going to be my legendary to kind of come out of, I think Global kind of needs 2 teams. So I was kind of going to do a hybrid Shield, Inhumans, Wave 1 Avengers. And then for my kind of like second tier Global team, I was going to do probably Uncanny X-Men. But there's a lot happening with X-Men right now, and I kind of want to give myself as much time possible to make a decision. There's also very interesting villains. I recently got Mr. Sinister up to G14. I haven't even really messed with him all that much, pretty much because I just don't really have the star count for him to be all that useful the way I want to. So, I don't really want to go gung-ho on him at this point because it's going to be a little while longer before he's really able to be of full use to me. So anyway, I really want to give, if possible, mutants some time to develop, and I think I've kind of realized that for the last week or so, and I think I finally have kind of figured out how I was going to do it. So anyway, my initial thoughts was kind of like building a team for Fury, and what I wanted to do was combine the two Inhumans, Yo-Yo and Quake. Quake uses Vibranium. That's a really tough resource for me. I'll get to that more in a minute, but I was going to basically combine two Inhumans since I love that team so much, and then I was going to use Widow and Hawkeye just because they are so inexpensive in terms of Dark Dimension 4. Black Widow only has 2 G15 nodes, and Hawkeye has 3, I believe. So pretty, average to below average cost. Just seems like the smart thing for me. I don't really have a ton of interest in other global skill characters. I know a lot of people are big on Zemo. He's a pain in the ass in real-time arena, but I'm not interested in any kind of minion strategy. I know he's only really kind of got the one minion on his team. But if I had to pick, I'm going heroes over villains. So I just don't really want to go Zemo. So I was thinking about building this team for Fury, but recently I've kind of switched that mentality. And I guess I should have said, along with the two Inhumans and Widow and Hawkeye, I was thinking I was going to go with Thor, and then have 3 of the Wave 1 Avengers and 2 Inhumans. I think that would be really good. And then the other good thing about that would be is, Thor I could pull off of that group of 5, have him ready for my cosmic wave. And then if I needed to later, I'd have the resources from Mutant. Maybe I had Mr. Sinister, who a lot of people have been taking into DD4 because of that clone ability. Really, really good ability, and people seem to be getting a lot of mileage out of that, and seeing who they can clone and make things interesting in Dark Dimension 4. So I've kind of shifted away from that, and I was just thinking, I was like, okay, if I'm going to do Widow, Hawkeye, and Thor, I might as well do Captain America and Iron Man too. I think the thing about this is, and I'm guilty of this too. Right now, I'm about ready to finish Dark Dimension 3, and it's like, ooh, I'm going to be able to hop right into Dark Dimension 4, and, I could, but I don't really know what the right decision is going to be, and it's causing me a lot of anxiety. And I think you really need to think about the teams that you're going to have after you're done with Dark Dimension 4. And I just think that, Avengers are never really going to go out of style. I feel like they're always going to be around. It's just going to make sense long term. And as somebody who's probably going to be playing this game long term, that's kind of just where my head's at now. So kind of taking up Iron Man instead of Fury. Still could take up Fury. Still probably will take up Fury, but just a little bit longer term. Kind of switching them around. I really want to take up Ultron. Ultron was a staple, or still is a staple for me on my arena team, especially on offense. And I'd like to take him up. He is very expensive. He has 5 G15 nodes. I was kind of thinking about, only doing 3 tech characters for all of DD4 and just making them the big tech people. So Ultron has 5 G15 nodes, Minerva has 4, and then I believe Doc Ock also has 4, possibly 5. Actually, he probably has 5. Could be wrong on that. But yeah, I'm kind of switching that mentality. I mean, I think Ultron would probably be better in Dark Dimension 4 than he was in Dark Dimension 3. That was kind of I don't want to say I regret just because he was so helpful to me in Arena, but he didn't really help me in Dark Dimension 3 all that much. So I don't think I'd be making the same mistake again if I chose to do kind of Ultron over Hawkeye and Iron Man, because he would take Hawkeye's adamantium and he would take the tech resources from Iron Man. So anyway, I'm thinking about doing kind of a Wave 1 Avengers kind of for my global strategy. I also think this makes a lot of sense for a couple reasons. Also, Captain America, I think, only requires 3 G15s. I can't remember exactly what the situation is with Iron Man, but between Captain America, Thor, and Widow and Hawkeye, I don't think any of them have more than 3 G15 nodes. So, they're a pretty cheap team to take up first, because of the low costs that they have, a little bit lower risk than some of these other things that I'm being seen taken into Dark Dimension 4 right now. And I just don't really want to go. I don't want to make the wrong. I don't really want to make the wrong decision, and I feel like Wave 1 Avengers is really low risk. And I've also been looking for little hints that the development team might be telling us. And, I think it's just Wave 1 Avengers, Wave 1 of whatever Dark Dimension you're working on. Just, it makes a lot of sense. So that's kind of where I'm shifting my focus to now. I would say I probably have my cosmic strategy probably hammered out the most. So for the last couple weeks, I was thinking that I was going to go kind of a cosmic royalty route and use Thor, who I'd be carrying over from using on the first couple of nodes of DD4, bypassing global, and then able to use again in cosmic. Thinking about taking some extra time pairing him up with Hela. Hela, I just think I really like her kit. Being able to spread all those debuffs around is just really awesome. And then you've got what everybody calls Greg. When you've got Greg popping up, those undead characters are really useful, especially when you're playing against the computer. Every time the computer or the AI goes for those characters, you kind of celebrate a little bit. So yeah, I was thinking about then combining Thor with Hela. Minerva's the clear cut, regardless of any other strategy. She's going to be my tech character for Cosmic. I know that for sure. And then I was then going to combine that with Black Bolt and Crystal, who I have both at 6 red stars. Definitely would make sense for me to take them up. But I saw a video, and I can't remember whose channel it was on. But somebody had a team that they were showcasing, and it was one that I've been playing with a lot more, and really kind of conceptualized early on when they were first introducing Longshot and Shatterstar, using the Kree 3, which would be Ultimus, Minerva, and Captain Marvel. I have not slept on Ultimus, so I've got him. I've been playing the game for 3 years. I can reasonably get him up to 7 stars pretty soon, and having that 5 red stars to stick on him after finishing Dark Dimension 3 for the second time, I think he's just going to be a force to be reckoned with, especially if I put some T4s on some of these abilities. Even his basic, this little mind control thing, I've seen it in some of the raids or something along the way, but really kind of eager to test that out and see how devastating that is. And then he's also got some interesting things that would be good for going against Black Order. Let's see. So if a character has taunt, basically doing all this extra damage, so maybe you just beat the shit out of Cull Obsidian or something. And then the thing about his special is applying regeneration to himself and the people around him. So I just think that, in terms of sustain, that's going to be a pretty interesting ability. I've also pulled, unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at it, 5 red stars on Ronan and Korath. I already had it on Minerva, but Ronan and Korath have been recent pulls within the last month or so. So if I could add one more red star to Captain Marvel and then have that 5 red stars on Ultimus, that is going to be an interesting team. You know, I obviously think that the 5 red stars on Ultimus could probably be what brings this team all together and makes a lot of sense. I don't have any T4 abilities on these guys. Obviously, they'd need a little love before that point, but you know, I think they designed these Dark Dimensions to last the average player about a year. I was looking back the other day. I mean, I've been in Dark Dimension 3 for almost 6 months. I think I started back in June or July, mid-June or July. I can't remember which one it was. So yeah, it's been a long time. And I don't think it was necessarily because I took the wrong people up. Although global is tough for everyone, but I mean, I had Phoenix, and then was able to add Colossus later, and the combination of those two, I think, really helped. You know, people just said it was just a complete grind, and I didn't think it was as bad as I was expecting. Again, just about ready to finish up Cosmic, almost getting ready to start City, but got a few potential characters that I still need to bring up. So anyway, back to my Cosmic strategy for DD4. Right now, it's looking like Ultimus, Captain Marvel, and Minerva, and then kind of another benefit to waiting and seeing how the X-Men teams and Mutant Villain teams develop is that I can use Longshot and Shatterstar, who I've invested heavily into lately. I actually bought some shards for Longshot earlier this week. Why I can't read my alphabet tonight, but so yeah, about ready to take Longshot up to 6. Wish I had another red star on both these guys. I really do, but I kind of want to keep them, you know, in tandem, kind of at the same level. I think that's where the most benefit's going to come. And I almost have Shatterstar up to 6. So having them both at 6, I'd probably be pretty comfortable, you know, inching them up toward DD4 levels. I think these guys could also work really well with different combinations of the Inhumans. So obviously the trio of Black Bolt, Crystal, and Yo-Yo, but also with Quake, Ms. Marvel, and Karnak. The thing about Quake, Ms. Marvel, and Karnak, well, maybe not so much Ms. Marvel, but you could make them all raiders, and then they're just going to work really well with this team. They're going to be critting like crazy, and they're going to be able to sustain long battles. I've started testing some of that stuff out. I've been using these guys more with the Kree right now, but since I saw them on display in some test footage, I was like, these guys are the 2 that I want out of the 6 that were coming this patch. Did end up pulling a 5 red star Red Guardian, so I did go pretty hard on him. That, full disclosure, was actually the first $50 character that I bought the introductory offer for, and had mixed feelings about it. At the time, I didn't realize that he took titanium alloy, which is a really, really tough material for me. I wish they would add that to the filter menu. But in titanium alloy, you've got Colossus, who I've already got built up a good bit, Yo-Yo, who I've already got built up a good bit. You've also got Cyclops. You have got Doc Ock. So Red Guardian also, that makes 5 very, very legit characters that all take the same material, and that's probably where I'm having the most trouble prioritizing. So some other things that I have to keep in mind. I'm basically just looking at my global and cosmic strategy right now, but the thing that I need to be careful about in global is Vibranium. Vibranium is used by Captain America, Quake, Panther, and Shuri. All of those I have at a pretty decent high level right now, and I like all of them. I really don't know how to prioritize. I was kind of leaning toward Quake a little bit, thinking that it would make sense to keep her consistent with my Inhumans, but my Inhumans haven't fallen off at all. I mean, especially in Blitz, that's probably where I'm getting the biggest advantage of for them right now. I mean, that one like wins all the time. You know, I use the trio of Black Bolt, Crystal, and Yo-Yo on my arena offense team, so I've gotten really good mileage out of those three. I wasn't sure if I was going to regret it. I did, but I kind of don't now. I took Karnak up the G14 just because there weren't really any skill characters that I was all that excited about, and I really liked the Inhumans and kind of wanted to kind of keep them all consistent. I think that one's going to work out for me long term, even though I'm probably not going to worry about taking him to Gear Tier 15 right away, but I don't regret that one as much as I used to. So yeah, and then the other thing that I have to be cognizant of is the Uru between Thor and Ultimus. And then also the thing about Ultimus, he does have 5 G15 nodes, so he will be a little bit longer of a process, but what I'm really trying to do at this point to kind of stay ahead of especially the whales that have just tricked out Black Order teams, you know, I'm looking for what's the best solution to Black Order, and I kind of think it has something to do with Ultimus. I mean, I don't think that they made him a trophy character for no reason. I think they kind of timed it out and realized that a lot of people would be kind of unlocking him right now. So like I said, I haven't been sleeping on him. I feel like probably earlier in 2020 or in early 2020, I must have had like a couple really good pulls on him, like out of Ultimus orbs, like maybe like a 50 shard pull or an 80 shard pull, something crazy like that. So I feel like I unlocked him probably earlier than I was probably supposed to. I didn't, obviously with no red stars, I wasn't going crazy on him, but when I get the red stars after the second run of DD3, and then do a little bit of work on Captain Marvel, those top 5 that you're looking at right there, that's going to be a really pretty impressive team. And then actually, because you have to get those 5 minions up for Nick Fury, those are a little bit better than the rest of my minions. Again, I don't really like minions, but the 5 minions by themselves actually still hold for the most part. I can use them some of the time in Blitz. I haven't really been lately, just because I've been trying to put in squads that have a little bit higher win percentage. I'd say they probably, at the level I've got them right now, which isn't very high, they probably win 40 or 50% of the time, especially if I'm not if I'm on like one of the lower parts of that tier 8, which is 4x. And if I'm lower than that, they would probably be just fine. So anyway, I've kind of got my global strategy right now, at least. Anyway, I think I'm going to go with Wave 1 Avengers. I'm at least going to start that way. I probably will hold off and not do. Captain America will not be the first one I do, because there's, I still kind of would like to go Yo-Yo or Quake, just because they're Inhumans and would work better with what I've got. But the materials are tough, because Titanium's tough because it's Colossus, Cyclops, and Yo-Yo. I kind of like both Uncanny and Inhumans teams. And then, there's just a couple tough decisions. The Adamantium between Wolverine, Hawkeye, and Ultron. Ballistic Weave's really tough. Sinister and Emma Frost are mutant villains that I'm interested in long term, but don't really have them built up enough to really get full use out of them. Emma maybe soon. I just got 5 red stars on her, but again, I'm trying to wait and see how that mutant villains how it all develops. Did I say mutant villains? I just meant mutants. Just all the mutants. Basically we're going to be here real soon because of probably some synergy with, definitely some synergy with Beast, probably some synergy with Wolverine. You're kind of going to see those Uncanny and Astonishing X-Men kind of be mixed up a good bit. And then, like I said, I think Forge could be coming down the line to kind of be that support character for whatever mutant team you want to do. So yeah, going with Wave 1 Avengers, gonna let the mutant situation develop, and then I'm gonna kind of go with a cosmic team that is definitely heavy hitters. I don't think I necessarily need to do Black Bolt and Crystal, just because they're already at really high levels with the red stars. Don't really need the extra help. I think I'm going to be focusing on some teams, at least here until I finish the second run of DD3. I'm going to be focusing on some teams that, not that I've slept on, but that I just haven't prioritized. Like, I've really been wanting to focus on Ms. Marvel, but just haven't really been able to. Actually, what does she take? So there's another adamantium decision that I have to make. I kind of thought that the covert ops event that they were coming out with would maybe help with some of these unique decisions, but I was looking at those orbs today. I don't think the big uniques are in those orbs. I think it's just the mini G14 uniques and the mini G15. So, you know, I don't even really need the 14. I mean, maybe it'll be the same currency and I can spend it on a 15s instead of 14s, but I don't really need the 14s right now because I just, I've recently completed the majority of Doom Chapter 3 and can start to farm those mini uniques myself, which is a game changer. I would recommend doing that as quickly as possible, beating Doom Chapter 3 so that you can farm those mini uniques. And then, longer term, my city strategy is not anywhere near fully developed yet. Obviously I'd really like to take the symbiotes. Everybody would, but I don't think, because of all the alien spores that takes, I don't think that's a realistic strategy. I'm also hesitant to focus at this point too heavily on one single team. Not that I think they'd be bad, but where I've got my symbiotes right now, I can get through U7 almost through Ultima 7 raid almost with these guys on auto. I think I don't really have trouble until maybe the last node or two, and then probably the boss node. But I also have Inhumans, so Inhumans really high, so anything that they symbiotes can't clean up or can't complete, I have Inhumans right there to just clean up the mess of what's left over. Then, like I said, I think that I just feel like Moon Knight's coming. I think Moon Knight's coming to save these defenders and kind of pull them up from the bottom of your roster. We kind of already saw them pull Punisher off this team a little bit via skill military, and I think they're going to be doing something else to kind of fill that void, and then encourage you to level up the defenders along with some of these other newer teams. So I feel pretty confident that that's coming. Again, I don't have any insider knowledge, just purely speculation based on my knowledge of the source material and what I see here in the game. I just think it all fits together. Mystic Blaster, Moon Knight. Part of the longer term strategy, I'm really focusing on my Inhumans are going to be a team for me for a long time with that Black Bolt. I also think that this is an area where you're going to see some new characters and probably the not so distant future, and maybe not until the second half of the year, but I think Medusa is going to end up getting added. I think she'll end up being a legendary character. It just makes sense. It doesn't make sense to have Inhumans if you don't have the King and the Queen. So Medusa is coming. It's just a matter of when. And then I would really like to see Gorgon, because I'd really like to see a brawler that Ms. Marvel can feed off of. Brawler or Protector, but probably Brawler. Just because of Ms. Marvel's kit, but I'd be happy with the Protector too. So anyway, Inhumans is a team that I'm focused heavily on. I guess Wave 1 Avengers is a team that I'm probably going to be next heavily focused on. And then Uncanny X-Men, really all the X-Men. I'm trying to just wait and see what kind of rises to the top. So I've kind of used Wolverine, kind of throughout this whole process. He gets a lot of crap, but he's a cheap character. He was my first. He was my first mutant, or maybe, yeah, he was my first mutant, I guess, that I took up to. I guess it was Gear Tier 14. I think I used him both in Dark Dimension 2 and Dark Dimension 3, but not that I regret that. I mean, he's just super cheap. I think he's only got one, maybe two. I know Sabretooth has one, so I can't remember if he has one, but one or two G15 nodes himself. So he's pretty cheap in terms of DD4. I'm just not really sure what I'm doing with this X-Men strategy right now. I probably will not be carrying on with Storm and Psylocke, at least for right now, because Storm uses Adamantium, which is such a premium for me, and then Psylocke uses that Astral Energy, which is my aunt. Yeah, Psylocke uses the same energy as Astral Energy as Phoenix, and I think Iceman uses that also. I think there's a couple other decent characters that all use that energy, but I've kind of been saving it for Phoenix. Definitely ready to go for Phoenix. I actually have enough to take two other characters up to G13. So maybe that's Iceman. I don't really know. Maybe I hold on to it for Phoenix. Not real sure. So that would kind of be my third, and then obviously the symbiotes are probably my fourth, and I'm kind of focusing on long term. And I've kind of been looking at it all visually to try to figure out how they all kind of mix together, and I think Inhumans kind of mix with at least through Yo-Yo and Quake, mix with Shield. Shield mixes with Wave 1 Avengers. So I could have like a Fury team that had some Inhumans, Wave 1 Avengers, and then I'll be taking Panther and Shuri up at some point. Shuri I've got at 13. Panther I've got maxed abilities, 6 red stars. He was just one that I pulled very early on in the red star process, and I mean, Wakandans get a bad rap, I think, probably because the people talking about them, all the whales, missed them. Not missed them, but they kind of came along after they would have needed them in the game, if that makes any sense. Wakandans were built as the alpha raid team, and they're actually not that bad. I guess I should say having a Panther that high is not that bad, and then the combination of having a high Shuri and then the other 3 at a reasonable level works out okay. And then since ISO 8 came around, Killmonger actually is a pretty decent raider. He really is. I don't really have him at a very high level, but especially now that he's on that skill military team, he's one not to sleep on either. So yeah, my global team under Fury was just giving me a lot of anxiety because I couldn't figure out what the hell to do, and then I kind of realized that I should probably just go all in on Wave 1 Avengers and make things easier for myself and not split up some teams. You really kind of want to keep teams even if you can, if not kind of have like a little bit of a siloed structure. But yeah, still not sure what I'm going to do. Still have a lot of time to determine what I'm going to do, but that's kind of what I'm thinking at this point. So now that I've talked for about 50 minutes, let's see what I got to do here. I don't really have anything I have to do. I played a little bit earlier. Can show you guys the strategy that has been working really well for me. I say really well, and now I'll probably showcase it and it'll go really bad. Might not be able to find the right team for it. Nope. I was going to say that's a lower level Black Order, but that Thanos, it's 7 red stars. That's beefy. I'm looking for a Black Order that I can do. I know that I'm seeing the same teams. I'm just kind of cycling through. I don't feel very confident about this one, but we'll just see what happens, and I'll kind of explain how I approach beating Black Order. I can usually do it about 30 or 40% of the time. Kind of all. I find that it all depends on Thanos. If Thanos has 6 or 7 red stars, which I think this one had 6, maybe even 7. He probably has 7. So yeah, they always open up with, kind of the same sequence. I like having Skirmisher on Yo-Yo so that I can plant this tag right away on Call. Some of the time you get lucky and the assist comes from Black Bolt instead of Crystal. If that happens, you can take a couple of those buffs off there. And I always use Phoenix to clear all these buffs, or all the debuffs. Died really early this time, which is not good. From this point out, it's kind of just taking whatever is available. The other good thing about Crystal is this special ability. If they had up some of them still have counters, but I had already hit Call and pulled one of the counters off him. But that move takes all the counters off, and because she's got the second wind, even if they knock her down below 50% health, she heals back up right away. So Crystal is actually one of probably the best raiders in the game, in my opinion, if not the best. I really like her, especially because in War you can use that special. Since it hits 3 times, you can take all the deflects off of whoever you're fighting in War. It's super helpful. So here I don't really know what to do. I don't know if I take the buffs off of Cole with Ultron's basic, or if I bring in the Ultron bots to provide a little bit of cover for Phoenix. I think that's what I'm going to do. Don't know if I'll regret it or not. So that strategy might have worked. So here, because he's got 2 defense up, I'm not going to use my special. I'm going to use just my basic, and I'm going to be able to take off probably those 2, probably the 2 defense ups instead of the death proof. Couldn't think of what it was called. Actually, I got all of them. Actually, that worked out perfectly. I might be able to win this now. Let's see. Just get rid of Proxima, I think. And then I use Yo-Yo's ultimate that feeds Black Bolt. And then the nice thing about this team right here is that this whole time Black Bolt's in incognito and really hadn't taken any damage really until that ultimate. So there goes my Phoenix. That kind of sucks. I knew that was a risk. What do I want to do here? Can she hit when they're in? Can't remember if she can hit when they're cloaked or not. Nope, doesn't look like it. So at least I'm going to be able to use this, and the only person that has defense up is Ebony Maw. Or I could try to take all the shit off of Ebony Maw. But I don't really have a whole lot of health left. I'm not going to win this one, actually, but... Could if Phoenix hadn't died so early. Might have gotten lucky. No, Black Bolt just died. Anyway, like I said, that works about 30 or 40% of the time. Pretty much when I'm punching across, maybe slightly down. Did not work there this time, but I think it's just because of the overpowered Thanos. I think the one I was going against at least had 6 stars, if not 7. I don't really have anything else I've got to do right now, so I think I'm just going to flip over and play a little real-time arena. And don't really have a whole lot that I have to do, but already to get those last couple knockouts. If I get 3 more, I'm going to have my daily and my weekly done, and then just a couple more weeklies that I got to do throughout the week, and I got a little under 2 days to do them in. My strategy lately has been whenever the daily comes out, there's usually a team that it assigns you or whatever, and then 2 characters. And I've just been using whatever those combinations are, and just kind of saying, okay, well this is the randomized thing that it's saying, and I'll just use that team. And if it gets knockouts, great. If not, it's using the abilities, and I'm making some progress. So I'm probably in the camp of people that like the changes they made to real-time arena. I know some of the whales and some of the people that are really gung-ho on that game mode don't really like it. But the thing that I saw a lot when they did it before, I know Phoenix is kind of banned right now, rightfully so, because people were abusing the hell out of her last season. So what people would do, they'd bring in Phoenix, they would pick their 5 lowest characters, and the team that you're going against would probably get 5 knockouts because those 4, we'll just call them minions, those 4 minions would die super quickly, and then because of how the matchmaking works, that Phoenix would be high enough that she'd probably be able to take out the other 5. But then obviously when she was Dark Phoenix, she would die. So you'd win, you'd get 5 knockouts, the other team would get 5 knockouts. It was mutually beneficial for everybody, but it wasn't a whole lot of fun. I will admit to doing that strategy myself just to get through all those knockouts, but I think that's also why they lowered this knockout objective, and they only have the one for 225 instead of, I think they had one for 550 last time. And that 550, I mean, shit, that just seems more like a monthly goal to me. So I'm happy with those changes. But we'll just see. Like I said, this Kree and X Factor team is one that I've been playing with, and I just think it's fun and it's interesting, and it's something that I'm going to focus on long term. Again, with Ultimates not having 5 stars, this it's not as beefy as it could be. I still need to add another red star on Captain Marvel, and then none of these guys have any T4 materials, and I still think that they're probably going to hold their own here. Actually, I think I could probably win this depending on how the blinds from Magneto shake out. Sucks. Yep, too much. Not too bad. That could have been worse. I mean, it was helpful being able to get long shot back if he doesn't die again. Let's see. Probably going to put defense down on everybody. I don't know if it must be because of the focus on my characters so low. I don't feel like that defense up's really hitting anybody. So I don't really understand. I don't understand why that's occurring. I don't know what to do here. I think I got that in just before it expired. And then I don't want to use my ultimate on Colossus because I think it would get blocked. So I'm just going to hit everybody again. Who'd they get? Marvel? At least she got her ultimate off. Steal this, that might kill Deadpool. Nope. Ugh. At least he's got the 2 death proof. Oh shit, I think Toad messed that up. I haven't done anything with Ultimus, so okay, I'm going to use his ultimate. Because if he's got taunt, he's going to deal all this extra damage, and then I think he's going to pull some positive effects off, but I don't know if that's going to work on Colossus. Although I guess it didn't really matter. That was pretty awesome, actually. That was actually really awesome. he was pretty well buffed up. So yeah, that's why I'm not sleeping on Ultimus. That's why I've kind of been building him up slowly. Was worried. I had the point where I had enough materials to take. I think I could have. I didn't. I was worried that I was spending that Uru on Ultimus instead of Thor, and I don't think ultimately I'm gonna regret that. I kind of hurried up and made myself do it because I'm just gonna flip this to auto. I made myself put it on Ultimus because I was like, if I don't do it now, I don't know that I'm going to want to do it later. And I knew that I wanted to do it, so I just did it so that I didn't have to think about it anymore. Anyway, I don't remember how powerful this team was, so it'll be interesting to see how much of a punch up or punch across I just did. Yeah, so it's a slight punch up, and I pretty much got full health for the most part. I love this team. I love this team. This is a future DD4 Cosmic team. I'm pretty sure that when the test footage was coming out, I'm pretty sure I saw it on OMG's channel, either on, I probably wasn't on Twitch at the time, or watching him via Twitch at the time. I think it was probably YouTube, but he was showcasing some test server footage of these guys, and I was like, oh, I see exactly how these guys fit into my roster. I think I might have even made a comment on his page. I was like, these are the four, or these are the five that it's going to work on and make it all work. And I did spend a little money to get them up to the level they are, but I think it was probably a good investment if you care about that kind of thing. So I'm at 50 of these tokens already, and I've still got 2 days left of this week, and basically we're halfway through the process. Almost exactly. I think it's a 30-day event. Could be shorter. Could be actually it's probably a 28-day event. But I'm at the halfway point, and I still got almost 2 days. So my pacing right now is just fine. Finished my daily. I haven't done, I don't think, all the dailies this week. You don't really need to do all the dailies. If you log in every day, do half your dailies, and hit all your weeklies except for those characters, you're probably still good. Yeah, and I know that the abilities are a little bit more of a grind than the knockouts were, but I just think that this works better for what they're trying to do with this game mode. So really what they've kind of been doing for really the first 3 years of this game is kind of telling you which characters to put on, to assemble together, and now they're trying to teach you how to break them apart. That's, with the higher level alliances, if you look at any of their wars, it's none of the cookie cutter squads. It's all different combinations and the people that they've picked that they like more and are leveling up more than the other members on their team. But the way things like Blitz work, you need a pretty flat team. You want everybody kind of all at the same level. So you kind of have competing objectives and need to really think about how you do that. The thing that I won't say that I've hindered myself with, but it's been kind of difficult right now, is that I have, I have some stars and I have some duds. And this section kind of right here that I have at level 55 right now, it needs a lot of work. And it's not really integral. I don't really regret anything, but at this point, the anxiety that I'm having is how much do I focus on this middle section? I'm not really focused on my minions down here. I haven't taken any minion above level 52. Level 52 or gear tier 9. I don't really plan to. At least in the near future. The only guy that I'm really thinking about is this guy, just because he works really well on kind of the defined Zemo team, being Crossbones, Winter Soldier, this guy, Zemo, and who am I forgetting? Probably Fisk, probably Kingpin. I think that's the one that everybody's been running. I've been running that same 5, but pulling out Kingpin and experimenting with swapping in Namor, who I leveled up a lot just because good war offensive team with Fantastic Four. But I think my alliance is pretty casual, and I think it's probably changed a lot now. This is probably more based on where it was a month or two ago. But the Red Skull teams that I was finding, it was kind of overkill, and just realized that I didn't want to pull Namor off the Fantastic Four team to make that team a little bit better. He did help, but it was just kind of overkill. It wasn't really necessary for the Red Skull teams that I was facing. So, I think that's all I've really got for tonight's stream. Gonna try to be a little bit more consistent and try to stream, probably in the 6 to 7 o'clock Pacific time range. I'm not going to make it necessarily a nightly event because while I do enjoy doing this, it's not the most productive time for me in terms of the game. I still want to make sure I'm giving the game plenty of attention. And I don't think that I'm good enough to have you guys watch me do a raid. Plus, raids right now are kind of boring. Why I went there? Because I'm using the symbiote team, and it's just way too easy. I was going to show you, but I'll spend some energy. So I'll just showcase my symbiote team real quick. It's overkill. Oh, I already knocked a couple out. I think I was still using the seasoned team for the Red Guardian event. So I'll do this just for the hell of it. I'll play it out. But yeah, symbiotes at the level that I've got them at, Ultimate 7 raids on that normal difficulty is not a huge hell of a lot of challenge, which is nice. You can throw it on auto and not worry about it, but I wouldn't mind, having a little fun with the game too. I really want to try that mind control ability on Ultimus out. That's because it's his basic. It's one that I'm considering as my next use of T4s, but I might be hoarding T4s for a while, trying to decide what I'm going to do. But not too long, I don't really want it to hinder my progress. There's also an outside chance I would finish off. I think I've only got one, maybe two T14 abilities on Colossus, and I could probably finish that off also. I like completing characters. I don't like putting any T4s on a character unless I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be putting the other 3 on there. I don't know that everybody else necessarily has that same strategy. In fact, most people probably don't, but I've been pretty happy with the results. So this is not going that well. What's my easiest way to get a crit and heal? So again, when I get that 5 red stars on Ultimus, what's it? He's got some passive that makes him heal, I think. But yeah, once I get those 5 red stars on Ultimus, he's gonna be a force. So like I think there was a lot of payoff for me right after I got Ultron was the. I'm just gonna flip this on auto. Ultron was the reward out of DD2. I think for my second pass, I leveled him up right away, and I think I got a pretty good return on that investment. That helped elevate me in Arena, and it really helped me sustain my place in Arena for a really long time, especially with Black Order coming in. And I feel like it scaled well with everybody else that was going really, really hard on Black Order, and it turned out to not be so helpful in Dark Dimension 3, but did help me in Arena. And I'm kind of looking at, what's the next thing that I'd have to do, and the next thing I have to do is, after DD3, and I'm into DD4, then I'm preparing for the arrival of Doom. And there are kind of two different cosmic strategies that I think would work for me there, and that would be to kind of, like I was talking about, go with kind of the cosmic royalty in Asgard and Inhumans, do Hela, Thor, and then Black. The way I'm looking at it, I'm looking at legendary characters or those high level characters that aren't legendary, and then like who can I pair them with? So rather than focusing on all five of a team, I'm focusing on the clear cut number one and the number two. And I just think that's going to work out long term, especially if I'd ever decide to try to go to the skinnier roster. So I'm not necessarily trying to do that, but definitely thinking about it. But anyway, so there would be that strategy where it was kind of going well with people that I've already leveled up. But I also have focused pretty heavily on Fantastic Four. So, obviously, you knew Doom was coming. He was in his, I don't remember which raid it is, like the Alpha raids or Beta raids or something. So, I mean, obviously, you knew Doom was coming. I was like, oh, I want to be working on my Fantastic Four, and I pulled 6 red stars on Thing. I think even it was probably before I even had him unlocked. If not, it was when I had very low stars on him. So he was or is available in the arena store, and that's kind of just where I was using all my credits at the time. Got him up, and also have all of his abilities at max. And man, is he a heavy hitter. Yeah, so I mean, he's part of my long-term cosmic strategy, him and Invisible Woman. I'm just not really sure how to prioritize everybody, but it's like, okay, who's going to pair well with Doom? Obviously, Fantastic Four is going to pair well with Doom. They probably have some kind of like Doom squad. So, I mean, there will probably be people that have Ultron, Ultimus, and Doom all in one arena team, which to me just sounds pretty awesome, especially when you're paired with a brawler like Thing, or a blaster like Black Bolt, maybe even both of them with those other three. That'd be a pretty ridiculous team. Really be a really, really heavy hitter. So yeah, anyway, I'm trying to figure out what's my strategy that I can move on to DD4 and not slow down my progress, and what makes the most sense long term. And just to recap what I was talking about earlier, leaning toward going all in on Wave 1 Avengers and DD4. I got a ways to go, but just with the low cost on Widow and Hawkeye, I think makes a lot of sense. Vibranium's a really tough material, but I might just bite the bullet and do Captain America, especially since I have 5 red stars. That wouldn't be a total waste. I don't have any T4s on any of the Wave 1 Avengers, though, but then doing Thor, because he would be useful in the first 4 nodes, and then he wouldn't, I wouldn't have advantage of him in the global 4 after that, but then he'd be ready to go first thing for the cosmic nodes. So I think that strategy just makes a lot of sense, but there's also if I did those 4, then I would probably have to do Iron Man as the legendary at some point down the road. I was kind of leaning more Fury, but maybe that'll give me the confidence to go with a Zemo or somebody like that. My Zemo's got a pretty long way to go. But yeah, Wave 1 Avengers and Global, and then kind of trying to identify just a ridiculously good cosmic arena team that could potentially dethrone Black Order. And I think that could be the Kree 3, Ultimus, Captain Marvel, and Minerva paired with Longshot and Shatterstar. And then also by going with those kind of, that kind of is my first, I guess that would be my first 9. In that 9, only 2 of them would be mutants, and I could kind of wait and see how all these mutant teams develop. And then also playing around with the idea of immediately following, after immediately finishing Dark Dimension 3 and getting all those rewards, immediately taking up Phoenix to G15. She's a legendary character. I'm not going to get the mileage out of her for Dark Dimension 4 for a long time, but I think that would let me bump up just slightly an arena, which I kind of need right now. I'm kind of just outside the 250 range. I really need to kind of get a bump and stay in that so that I get some more cores and more arena credits. So anyway, that's what I'm thinking. On the off chance anybody's actually listening to me out there and has an opinion, you can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. And I guarantee you, if you send me a message, I will reply back, because no one else probably is. Anyway, until next time, have a good one.